Hi, my name's Ethan Lawrence.
This is Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage.
Hi, I'm Scotty Wartooth.
Hi, my name's Sean Smith.
Hi, my name is Desha Kiva.
This is Ryan McCombs from the band Soil.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Raging Cajun Lash LaRue.
Hi, I'm Jason Heightman, the vocalist of Chaos Reigns.
Hi, I am Billy Padmore, the bassist for Chaos Reigns, and you are listening to the greatest podcast of all time,
Chronicles of Podcast.
Enjoy.
Ladies, gentlemen, theys and thems, this week we are here for a bit of a late recording. You could say working the graveyard shift. To bring you this week's guests, a hardcore band, are here to talk all about the sins of their success and their upcoming EP, Sweet Violence, released November 30th, and much more. This week we're joined by Jason Heightman and Billy Padmore. Put your hands together as we bring you the Chronicles of Chaos Reigns.
Oh.
Bravo.
Oh, and pun terrific this week.
Bravo.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was about to apologise for him, but never mind, I won't. But still, all the same. But before we really get into the cruxy, deliciously part of this, how have your personal Mondays been? Billy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it's been a chill one. I'm a guitar teacher, so yeah, just I'm teaching a child at the moment who wants to learn Beck, and he's at primary school, which is mad. So,
That's insane.
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, like to the point where it's like I'm having to look up this song. Like, I'm like, whatever you not in a boastful way. It's like whatever a student wants. It's like, yes, I know Wonderwall. I can teach you that one. But yeah, it was like a Beck deep cut, and I was like, oh, okay, 10-year-old child putting me on my toes there.
Wow.
That's blown my mind. Not how I saw this started off, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's so cool.
I mean, I'm happy with that. It makes a change from Imagine Dragons, so you know.
Oh, mate, anything makes a better change from Imagine Dragons, to be fair.
I'll
be honest, I
couldn't silence for this lesson. Like, I'd rather do that.
I'll be honest, I'm sat here racking my brains, and the only Beck song I can think of is Loser. I literally can't think of any of the songs off the top of my head.
Devil's Haircut, if you know that one. There we go. This
No.
10-year-old's
That's the one he's asking to learn. Wow.
No, he wanted to do what's it called? The Golden Age, which is on one of his more chill albums. So yes.
Fascinating.
Cultured
I
young
like
lad.
it.
Yeah, his parents obviously did a very good job with him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not where
That's
I saw
right.
that going. Yeah. Jason, how's your Monday been, my friend?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. My girlfriend's got a chest infection, so I've been Dr. Jason all day. She jokingly was like, should we get a bell? I was like, that's fine. So I've just
Jason, I just looked at my rack. I've got this outfit for you.
honestly, like, I reckon I could pull that off, to be fair. But I've basically just been carrying snotty tissues back and forth from the bedroom all day.
I hope she's all right.
Oh, yeah, I think she's you okay, babe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just hear a death
We'll keep checking in throughout the night.
Yeah.
If you have to go off, mate, we understand. Just come back with it. So, 1 second, sorry.
We'll just hear a bell. Right. So, guys, the way we like to start these things off is to take it right back to the start. Days when you were young masters growing up as children.
Oh, goodness.
What was it you wanted to be when you were growing up? What was that first initial thing you wanted to be? Has it always been music for you, or was it like race car driver? I don't know.
I wanted to be a dinosaur. For
Yeah, I was
fuck's
going to
sake.
say.
Yes, great
Like,
answer.
yeah, I actually going on that dinosaur tour. I went to the Natural History Museum recently, and I was thrown because I was like, yeah, I'm going to tell you all the names of these dinosaurs, and they've all changed their names now. It's
What?
like, yeah.
What?
So like the iguanodon, a classic one. I can't tell you what it's called now, but I was a bit like,
You can't
I'm
just-
an idiot getting it wrong.
You can't just do a dinosaur reboot.
Yeah.
What is this?
yeah.
Marvel? Like,
Yeah. And yeah, I was like, you know, it's great seeing them all, but I just felt like an idiot not being up to date with my knowledge.
oh, fun.
Why are they? I can imagine you go up to the Tyrannosaurus Rex and it's like, oh, the T Rex. Like, no, sorry. It's actually the Tyrannosaurus.
Yeah.
It's the what? Sorry, the Tyrannosaurus. That's what it's called
I
now.
think that one's pretty safe. Like I think
Okay, I was gonna say.
there's too much history with that one. But yeah, Iguanodon is one of the C-level like C-listers, so they can afford to change it. I can't remember what it's been changed to. I think it's named after the person who discovered it, which
Right.
I would have thought was hundreds of years ago. So I don't know where
You would
we
have
fucked
thought
it
so.
up.
Yeah.
Were there people around during the dinosaur age? There wasn't, was there?
No.
So how can the person who
the
discovered
body,
it?
he didn't- Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah,
I was
he
going
didn't
to
go,
say.
"Ah."
That really threw me for a second. Then I'm not going to lie.
Write that down. Write that down.
Yeah.
What dinosaur do you want to be, Jason?
I think it'd probably be a velociraptor.
Okay.
I remember watching like JP Jurassic Park, and like obviously there's that sweet bit in the diner when it does the cool thing with the claw and like taps the floor, and you're like, oh yeah, it's a badass dinosaur.
That's what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah, I was like, that'd be
they're
cool.
feathered now. They're a lot smaller, and they're like they're like that big with feathers on.
Something of a small and feathery creature myself, so so if anything, I'm on brand.
It's that bit where it comes out the bushes and he just goes, clever girl.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I am a clever girl. So
I am James Bond.
Wonderful. Billy, what about you?
Yeah, I liked them as well. Like, what there were so many like cool ones. I really liked the Ankylosaurus, which was the one which had like the tail with like the kind of the club on the end.
Yeah.
I remember, like, you know, so many like dinosaur magazines I got and everything, and it's like, oh, it would use that to like kind of break the ankles of any predators that were coming after it. And I was like, that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I realised that I should have elaborated more on what I was asking, but I was meant to say like what you want to be when you were growing up. But you know, the dinosaur conversation, we can keep going. I don't mind.
Okay, back to serious territory now.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry.
Okay,
But that is awesome, though, by the way. That's awesome.
The thing is, I actually came to music quite late. In that I didn't actually start. So I'm a guitarist. I play bass in Chaos Reigns, but I didn't get my first guitar until I was 15, which I suppose, like, you know, not old, but in the grand scheme of like young musicians, that's considered quite late. I don't really know if there was anything. I really liked like art and drawing and things like that, but I think at childhood age I didn't really have that idea of what I want to be. It was just too far off. But I think once I started getting into music and like the typical alternative stuff you get into as a teenager, that was like, this is cool. Like that's the only thing I could dream of. And yeah, I went to a grammar school, and there were so many people that were just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be in economics when I grow up. And it's just like, fuck me, man. Like, it's 17 and it's like instantly you've just gone, yeah, nothing fun for me. Just but yeah, I think music was the only thing where I was like, this is the only thing I am interested in. And I'm very, very lucky in the one, I get to be in a band and play, and also I have a job that is still related to music. Like I'm teaching it, so I'm very happy with how it turned out, basically.
I know we'll progress this later. That's fantastic, but just quickly, and it's not to shit on bass guitarists in any way, shape, or form, but you said you're a guitar teacher, but you played bass in Chaos Reigns.
Yes.
Was the guitar taken, or would
No,
you just...
no. So I formed the band. And it was actually a uni project where so I think it was in like year 3. I went to, so I'm from London. There's the Institute of Contemporary Music Performance, and like our year 3 project was basically, I'm going to sell this really badly. It was like, pick a project and just do it, and you need to document everything. So whether that's like putting on a show, recording a project, or whatever. And my project was, you know what, I'm going to form a band. I'm going to form a hardcore band. And so I wrote like some demos. I recorded them, advertised it online, recruited the lineup, put on a show, did photo shoot, and then it was like, there's my project. And they were just like, well, yeah, well done. And then it just took off from there. But yeah, so when I was recording the demos, I didn't own a bass guitar, and I had to borrow one. And when I was recording it, I was like, this is really fun, actually, like just focusing on literally just root notes. And I just love the way that, I suppose this is true of any like rock genre, that even though the guitar riff is like the iconic part of the song, when you've just got that bass coming in, it just really adds the weight and the force behind it. So, like, case in point, in any hardcore breakdown, you have the guitar like playing the riff, but when the drums comes in, it's the bass that is just adding that weight behind it. So I really enjoyed that. And then also from a kind of like a snooty MD perspective, being at ICMP, like a music uni, I didn't trust any bassists to not go, I'm going to play with my fingers and I'm going to be like, doing walking bass lines. I was like, yeah, it's like, this is a punk band. You will play root notes with a pick. And I was like, if I just take that, that will be my burden to bear. As I said, I wrote the guitar part. So that was kind of like my outlet. So, yeah. Sorry, that was a very long answer.
No, we like long answers. Don't worry, we like long answers here. That's what we come here for.
It's part of the lore of Chaos Reigns as well.
Yeah.
It's very important. Yeah,
absolutely. But like going back to the growing up side. Sorry, because you mentioned that, it just clicked in my head. I don't want to leave it and lose it. You know what I mean? When you moved on, you go, "Oh, I can't come back to that now, bollocks."
Yeah.
Music growing up. Jason, what were your parents into? Were you influenced by anything they were listening to in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, so actually, do you know what? I can honestly thank my mum for a lot of my good tastes, because we used to listen to pretty much everything from like Johnny Cash to ABBA to Bon Jovi. Like she was really into country music as well. So she's got like a really eclectic music taste, and she basically just like she's this like 4 foot tall Asian lady who can speak very broken English, but like she just puts something on, and if she likes it, she goes, yeah, do you know what, this fucks, I'm gonna listen to more of this. And then and so it was basically like, cool, that's exposed me to all of these crazy different genres of music from a very young age. So yeah, like I definitely remember there was a point when I was probably about like 10, 11 when I first heard like my first like new metal track. I think it was like Linkin Park or something like that. In fact, I think it was Linkin Park. And remember like hearing it and being like, what is this? What are these like crunchy distortion, and like, why is this guy like fucking screaming? Like, yeah. And then that's kind of when I started like deviating off the pop world.
Nice.
What was it though that made you sort of go, this music thing, I want to do this. I want to put all my energy into this. I want to start being a band. I want to do this for my living. What was it? Was there like a defining moment, or was it just sort of happened?
Yeah, so I guess like, my first instrument was actually bass guitar as well. I think I was about 14, 15. And basically, how like, I don't know if everyone else had the same experience of having the garage band thing. But basically like you just took whatever instrument was available, like was it hadn't been taken yet. I remember we had this one like
and the
band.
bass was the last one.
It was the last one. Just wait, I used to play in this band, and we had one drummer, we had 2 keyboardists, 2 guitarists, 2 vocalists, but no bassist.
They were like that desperate.
And this was like proper like school assembly type stuff. Yeah, and so yeah, I think I got a little bit older. I thought, it'd be good skill to have, learn an instrument, and then I guess I sort of always held a backing vocalist type role. Always known that I've like had some vocal ability. But Chaos Reigns is like my first debut as a frontman, really. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like a shared love of the camaraderie of being in a band, creating art and music with other people. Yeah, there's just something about it which is kind of like unlike anything else.
Amazing. What about you, Billy? Was there a defining moment for you?
I think actually, like going back to school and everything, it was getting to like A-level. Well, it was A-levels, and because I came to music so late, because GCSEs essentially already started, I couldn't do music GCSE, so I was doing like, just the least rubbish subjects for A-level. And then it's like, oh, you've got to go to uni now and study one of those for 3 years. And I was just like, maths or English for 3 years. I was like, oh, fucking hell. I don't really want to do either of them. And like, I also did classics, which I think classics is quite cool, like, studying about ancient Rome and Greece, but I was still thinking like, I really want to be doing this. And I think it was just that I mean, at 18, it was a bit of a panic, just like, shit, I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to go to uni and study these subjects, which I'm not interested in. I only like music. So I was just like, I can't do it. I can't go to uni. And I had no education in music apart from what I'd taught myself, which was just, my favorite songs. So I went to college and then like I did a diploma and then 3 years. So I'd like all in all, I've done 6 years of studying. So it's like, okay, so like music is my thing because I've spent a lot of time on it. I can't really do anything else. But yeah, like, and there's been various things I've done, like music related jobs, even just like journalism and things like that. But like every day I'm like holding a guitar either for being in the band or teaching or just learning or writing. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that outcome's come about, and like I couldn't really think of doing anything else myself.
Just to interject, Billy had this really cool job where he was basically Jack Black from School of Rock as well.
Yeah, so I'd like take instruments to primary schools and teach them to be in bands. And once again, really weird because like, well, for me personally, music in primary school was just that kind of thing on when you're in the car, like on the radio. But there were kids being like, "Oh, can we do this song by this band?" And it's like, wow, you know these things. It's remember like a girl in year 2 or 3 who was into Nirvana, and it's like you're 7 years old.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's hope, guys. There is hope.
The next generation are coming through.
Well, I'll say, actually, even nicher than that, another girl who's in year 3, she wanted to do the song "Wicked Game" by the Cardigans.
Whoa.
If you know that song.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was like, what? And I was like, yes, but
This is what makes, like, we always go like, oh, the internet today, kids, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But that is the one positive I find that's come out of it. It's introducing some really cool music.
Yeah.
Like, my daughter's music taste is so eclectic. She's 7, and she'll go put music on in her room, and it'll go from Taylor Swift to Falling in Reverse, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But I love it. Like, she loves Ronald by Falling in Reverse. I'm like, what are you doing? What is happening? I love it, but what is happening?
Yeah, I suppose because when you're younger, if like as I said, you hear music in the car, like once that song's finished, it's like, oh, it's gone now. Like that's it. Like you just have to wait until the radio plays it again. But now you can go and find things. So yeah, well done, internet. Like
Great job.
Top marks. Billy, a question I asked Jason before. Same with you. Influences from parents. What were you listening to growing up?
So my mum is very much into kind of like soul and R&B and disco, which I still very much love. And like I don't like when I play guitar, I do naturally kind of play like if I was just playing for fun, I do really love like the Nile Rodgers kind of disco guitar work, and it really shaped my guitar playing a lot. Just this kind of like syncopated rhythms that he does and being able to play on the offbeat. I don't think it's overtly obvious in Chaos Reign stuff, but it might be there. It might be there, even if the fact that I'm just playing 16th notes. But yeah, like no rock music at all. I mean, by my mum's own admission, like the heaviest band she likes is Queen. So yeah, I think it was. I think I remember the first Own Closed day in year 7. A kid came in wearing a Slipknot hoodie, and I was just like, "Who are they? What is that?" And I was like, you when you have no reference of what Slipknot is, it's like, is this a horror film? What is it?
Yeah.
And once again, this was in like dawn of the internet days, so it was when there was so many like rumors circulating around Slipknot and like the mystery. Yeah. So that was the gateway for me. But yeah, I still really love like disco and R&B, and whether or not I'm allowed to say it, Michael Jackson's got a lot of great songs.
Oh yeah,
he does.
Well, it's that thing, isn't it? When you're growing up, like we all know the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC had some unbelievable tracks. We all know this, right? But when you're growing up, you always go, "I don't like this." What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm into Papa Roach and Limp Bizkit. Of course I don't like that. But secretly, you're like, "I want."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, of course you are.
You say that I was in uni once, and I had a friend of mine say that he was in a covers band, like doing alternative songs. I was like, "Oh, what are you playing?" And he was like, "We're doing some Panic at the Disco." And I just instinctively went, "Ugh." And he was like, "They're really good." And I was like, oh yeah, I'm like 20 now. I should kind of like actually listen to them. And it's like, yeah, they are really good.
I could totally relate to that because when I was growing up, I fucking hated My Chemical Romance. Any played anything by
Really?
them. Now I've grown up and I've gone, do you know what? They're actually fucking good at what they do.
Yeah.
They've actually got some really good songs.
Yeah.
You missed out, man. You missed out.
You really did. Really,
It's
really did.
strong songwriting. Like it's like for me, there's no nostalgia there at all. It's just this is a good. They have written a good song. Like it is catchy. There's like a melody and like like that kind of 2005 to 2008 era of emo. Like when everything was like Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, MCR, and Paramore. Brilliant stuff.
Oh yeah.
The huge top four, we love it.
Yeah, the real big four.
Yeah.
Move over, Metallica.
But a question I like to ask all bands, because I'm always intrigued by what came first. And I'm also interested because this is also a song done by Trivium. The name Chaos Reigns, where does it come from?
Well, we've been told where it's come from by many people, and I've had to say no, that's not, and they've gone, I think it is. And I was like, all right, you win.
Is that the Trivium track, right?
No, it's not Trivium. I am a Trivium fan, but it's not. People think it's an Every Time I Die reference as well, which it isn't, as much as we love Every Time I Die. It's from the film Antichrist by Lars von Trier.
Okay, I have no idea what that is.
Both big fans of.
Okay. Yeah.
Silence.
Sorry.
It's a harrowing film.
Oh, it's great.
There's a bit in the film where Willem Dafoe's character is like having a nightmare, and in his nightmare he's walking through a forest and he sees a fox eating its own stomach, and the fox looks up at him and says "Chaos reigns" in like this really demonic voice, and I was just like, that has shit me seriously. And and I was like, it's not a horror film, but it was just that bit. I was like, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen. And I cannot recommend the film because it is horrific. But that's
great. It's really, if you're into horror, it's a very good film. It's like an art horror film. It's an art horror film.
Horror, but I'm just saying that's the kind of film where it's like, I've watched it once and I think I'm full. But and because of the Fox thing, we kind of have that in like our merch and everything, and like every now and then I think we've had a few people recognize what it's from, Jason, haven't we?
Yeah. Like again, that like the film itself is like this like art horror deep cut, and the moment from the film is just obviously like a very small section of said film. And so unless you're like really into horror movies or like a horror buff, you'll get the two things together. But most people are just like, oh, it's Trivium, right? You guys are big Trivium fans. Like, yeah.
That's just the only thing I knew. That's the only thing I knew when I just thought I'd take a stab. So apologies, but horror movies.
No, it's cool.
Like
we might just
10 out of 10 album, but it's not Trivium.
We could keep changing it though. We could keep changing where it's from.
It's very fuck with people.
Yeah.
It's actually a Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference.
And Captain Hot's deadpan face.
Yeah.
Chaos reigns.
Yeah.
Very good.
I love that show, honestly. It's one of my favorites. So, yeah.
So obviously, Billy, you mentioned earlier that you sort of started this project as a uni project.
Yeah.
How did it come together as a full band, Jason? Like, how did you and the other guys get involved?
It's really escalated since uni, hasn't it?
Yeah. To be honest, I think at that point it was the kind of like I formed a band and I happened to be ticking the box of this is my coursework as well. But yeah. Or Jason, like, do you want me to talk about?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I'm sort of joined. What iteration of the band would you say we're in, Billy? Like, I think this is probably like this
number three,
the third iteration of the band. So yeah, like I'm the second vocalist of Chaos Reigns. There was another guy before me called Dan, really lovely guy. If you've listened to some of the older stuff, like A Horrific Accident, you'll hear his vocals on there. Super sound dude. He just, decided that he wanted to up sticks, move up north and start a family. And so I stepped in at that point. When I joined the band, we also had a new guitarist and a new drummer join as well. So Billy, you're like the only original member as well, I suppose, now as well.
To be fair, the first two guitarists, I think they left within like the first year. So it was still kind of early doors. But yeah, I would call that like iteration one. Then we had two new guitarists, one of whom, Joe, is still our guitarist today. But yeah, so that would be like version two. And that like kind of led up till lockdown. I think you kind of joined at the beginning of lockdown, right?
Yeah, I was like phase 3 of the Chaos Reigns universe.
I think wasn't your first show like February 2020?
Yes, it was. Yeah, and I was like, this is going to be
that month, or
literally like a month later.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember putting a post up being like, amazing first show of Chaos Reigns. Can't wait to do more of these. Boom.
Yeah, no,
always,
no one for you.
Yeah.
Always Sunny. The band play no shows.
Yeah, honestly, man. But yeah, so we had a bit of a, I think, me joining the band, the pandemic, a couple of members leaving, and a couple of members joining. That brought us into like the latest phase of the band, the latest iteration, if you will. And I think, I mean, from my personal point of view, like this is the strongest band's ever been. Like it's the most cohesive. Like I kind of joked to the other guys. For me, Chaos Reigns is like 4 incredibly talented musicians, and then just this like short, screamy, long-haired guy at the front of it. But yeah, like it feels like it's very locked in now, and it's firing on all cylinders, sort of like as recent press and the recent releases will kind of tell you.
I mean, those 3 tracks, the latest tracks, holy shit, is all I can say. Like, mind blowing, absolutely. How did you learn to growl and scream and blech that way?
Do you know what? So a lot of people are like, oh, I love that you chucked a bleh in the song, right? The song is actually about having a love-hate relationship with alcohol, and you know, like that feeling of waking up with a hangover and then sort of doing it all over again, and like some self-loathing in there. And the blech is actually it's a bit of a story, the lyrics of the song. The blech is actually throwing up. It's like that feeling of sickness and vomiting. So I haven't used it like ironically. I've used it actually, that's why it's actually written in the lyrics.
That's amazing.
But yeah, going back to learning, I remember listening to like, I think it was Atreyu when I was like a little teenager in my bedroom, just like bopping along to it, singing all of the clean parts, and then being like, oh, I don't know what to do now.
Shout for it.
And then do you know what? I think one weekend my family had sort of all gone somewhere, and I was like, put the song on again. I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go for it, and I did it, and I was like, it felt good, and it to me it sounded good, and then I just kind of like lent more and more into that, and I guess it's just something that I'd sort of like I don't have any like formal vocal training or anything like that, so it's just something that I just honed in on what felt right, and just like crafted from there, basically built it up from there over the years.
That's incredible, because again, you can definitely tell how fucking good it is from those latest 3 songs you've released.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with my vocal performance.
It should be.
If I do say so myself.
It should be.
Yeah.
You were saying then, like, this is like the 3rd stage of the band. So as a sound, the band's sound and stuff like that, has that progressed as well throughout the years, or has it always been that same, this is what we want this band to be sort of thing?
I think there's been like a kind of a gradual and natural development. Like, so when I started the band, like it was also kind of my first venture into hardcore. Like I was very much from a metal background, like almost like snobby metal background. Like the years I wasted on Dream Theater, honestly. But, like
that's just 2 songs.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. And then I didn't see my family for all that time. So I think that my first venture into writing was almost like, let's see if I can write a hardcore song. And I think my main inspirations at the time were like Gallows and the Ghost of a Thousand. And as much as I love those bands and they are so important to where it started, I found them like if I wanted to emulate a band, they were much easier to emulate than Dillinger or Converge, because I was like, that's like when you're a professional. I think that was always like my dream, like, you know, to be considered in the same sentence as Dillinger, Converge, Every Time I Die, like the three bands who I consider like the heavyweights of hardcore. So I don't know. I feel like as I became more developed as a songwriter and like understanding the genre and I suppose also myself as to what I can write, I veered more towards Dillinger and Every Time I Die. And I mean, I hope it's working. Some people are comparing us, like not saying we're like them, but just saying, "Oh, you sound like them." I was like, "Oh, that's good. That's what I wanted to do." But yeah, I think that is the natural. So yeah, early stuff was more like Gallows-esque, who, you know, we all still absolutely love.
Oh,
Yeah,
massive fan.
I definitely want to veer towards the more Dillinger, Converge, Every Time I Die sound. Two of whom aren't even with us anymore, so you know, gap in the market if anyone's looking.
Anybody? Anyone?
Yeah.
But you mentioned Gallows because that's what I got from it, but I also got hints of Sixth.
Oh, yeah,
that's we've had that one a couple times as well, actually.
Yeah. I do really like Sick. They're not someone that would come to mind when I was writing. And once again, they're a very advanced band. Like I've looked at some of their song charts and just like with my guitar and just gone like, nah, not for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, thank you for that comparison. And yeah, they're a great band in that, like, who's doing what they do? I think like the Number 12 Looks Like You. They're the only band I can think of that are similar with that really kind of like frantic back and forth with the vocals and yeah, no, Sick for wicked, but yeah, I'd never really considered that comparison.
And they're back.
Go on.
And they're back as well. Long may they remain. Yeah.
Oh,
they're on download, aren't they? This next year.
Oh yes, they are.
Yeah. So that was like, because that was one of the few names when I saw the poster. I was like, what? Yeah.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. But Jason, your lyrics, I'm assuming you write them.
No, it's all ChatGPT actually. But...
Is it actually? Oh, okay, nice. So AI-based lyrics. I'm joking. Are they? Are your lyrics quite personal? Because you mostly mentioned about the alcoholism and that sort of thing. Are they quite personal to you? Are they story based? Are they somewhat political? Like, what sort of do you go? What's your inspiration?
So, like, basically, the way I kind of usually approach lyrics is like Billy will provide these incredible demos for us to work with, and like I'll take this kind of almost like fully formed song. I'll go away, I'll listen to it a few times just to kind of get the feeling, get the emotion of the track. And then that's kind of how I'll apply. Like once I've got the feeling and the vibe of the track, that's then when I'll look at how I'm going to apply my lyrics to it. In terms of lyrical content itself, like it ranges. Like Violent Delight, ironically, Dave, our drummer, came into practice one day and he was just like an absolute shell of a man, like horrifically hungover, like probably one of the worst hangovers I've ever seen. And I was like, yeah, you should probably do something about that. And then it just so happened I was writing for Violent Delights at the time, and I almost sort of like put myself in the position of Dave and his love-hate relationship with drinking, if you will, and that sort of formed the foundation for the song. And then the song itself, it kind of almost tells the story of a night out, basically, from start to finish. Yeah. In terms of like some of the other tracks, like I tend to just kind of write from the heart. Like Sins of Success at the time, I was just kind of really obviously angry with 12 years of like Tory leadership in the country, and just kind of like how miserable things felt at the time, and just how, again, essentially the rich are just getting richer and the poor seem to be getting poorer, and just life seems to be getting less enjoyable for everyone, or for the most part everyone. And so yeah, it kind of came up on cronyism and that. Probably the most personal track for me off the album is The Lotus King, which I wrote about. Basically, I almost lost a friend to suicide, and so it's that story basically. And so after listening to the track a few times over and over, And through the time I was kind of processing my feelings and my emotions about that. And so that's how I kind of used that as the canvas to paint the story. Yeah. So it ranges, but most of it just seems to be, I guess, kind of reflection of life.
You said almost lost a friend. Yeah. So he's still with us.
Yes.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God for that. Yeah. Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to hear that.
Yes. Me too. Yeah.
Apart from obviously going through all that, but as long as you're still here. Yeah.
And so that kind of lays the foundation for a lot of what the record's about lyrically anyway. It's about the line between life and death, and pleasure and pain, and love and hate, and obviously joy and sadness. And I remember the exact moment that I sort of got broken the news, because I was on this cycling trip. I'd cycled from London to the Netherlands.
Wow.
It was epic. It was so cool. And I was I just landed in the Hook of Holland, which is the Hook of Holland, which is south. And I was just cycling along the coast and kind of having a bit of a pinch me moment, because I was I can't believe I actually did this. I did this because I had a week off and I was bored. So I was I wonder if I can do this.
Amazing.
And then I was here I was riding high, and then all of a sudden I get this message from back home, and within seconds my world just crashed.
Yeah.
And I just and so I find life is so fascinating that you have these moments of just you can have pure elation and then crushing sadness within seconds, but there's always this reminder to just kind of keep going, keep moving, keep walking. Or keep cycling, I guess, in this case.
It's conversations like this that make me think to our work with the foundation, because it's the amount of people when you're growing up are oh, that screamy shatter music, I bet you're just worshipping the devil and all that shit. But really, the lyrics in this sort of music are intense. They're so thought out, they're so beautiful, they're so emotional, and the fact that stereotype is put upon this type of music pisses me off for one of well, it's one of the many reasons alone, because there's some of the most beautiful lyrics you'll ever hear, but they don't take the fucking time out to actually pay attention to what they're about. Sorry, I got my soapbox a little bit there. I was thinking.
No, I agree with you there. Honestly, Jamie, it's one of those things where I think if you were actually to take my lyrics out of the context of the music and just look at it on a script or on a poetry board, it would mean something completely different. But it's the application of the two together. I don't I'm not in a band for the sake of making it big or success or fame or anything like that. It's just it provides an outlet for us at the end of the day to kind of process thoughts, feelings, emotions, and creativity.
So let's talk about the new EP. Comes out just over a week, November 30th. How excited are you to get this out in the world?
First off, we need to correct that, because I think we made a mistake, but it is actually the 29th.
Okay.
Surprise, it's coming a day earlier.
Hey!
Yeah!
I can't read a calendar, and I thought the 30th was a Friday, so apologies there.
But the good news is it's coming a day earlier.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we are then.
Yeah.
Week on Friday.
Yes. Normal Friday, normal service. Sorry, the question again. I was so focused on the
I was going to say, regardless of the date it comes out, how excited are you to get this out there?
Very, very, because even though we've got 3 singles out already, there's still songs which I'm keen for people to hear. The Lotus King, the one that Jason was just talking about in particular. Very interested to see what the response is for that one. Because that one, I would say, it's probably the least traditional, or would you say, Jason? It's a lot longer and it's a lot slower. So
yeah, I think I always we've played it live a couple of times, and I always jokingly say before we start, I'm the next one's a ballad. Because it feels it's in fact, a lot of people have confused it with being 2 songs, because it's there's a section where just the feeling, the mood and everything sort of changes. Yeah, like an interlude, if you will. And so it's very different. I mean, if you were to look at Chaos Reigns' normal back catalogue, and then this song is probably very unusual compared to the other ones, the 3 singles we put out are just circle pit bangers, I think,
2 minutes long each, aren't they?
Yeah, 2.5 minutes. And then this one we've just kind of gone, was it 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a 2-for-1 special. Yeah.
Oh, spoiling
It's that
us.
Dream Theater influence coming through again.
Oh, maybe.
Wait till you hear that keyboard solo. Yeah, so I'm very excited for people to hear that one, and also just as a like to release a body of work.
Yeah.
Because personally, and Jason's told me I'm in the minority here. I like listening to a complete body of work. Like, bands like my favorite band can be releasing singles, but I'm like, no, I'll wait until the album comes out because I quite like hearing it like in the context that the artist desired it to be heard in. But then equally, a lot of people just, they want to hear their favorite song straight away, which is great. So from my perspective, and for anyone out there who's like me, having the whole body of work out, and I'd love for people to hear that as like, oh, you're hearing the full thing rather than just like the highlights, if you will.
Do you struggle for what to release as singles then, in that case?
Yeah, I mean, like we were considering releasing the Lotus King, but then there's the kind of rules, as you will, like, can you release a 7-minute song as a single, and also like, no, I know obviously you can do whatever you want,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
will people respond to it? And
what's the uptake going to be like when you think about it in terms of like radio play and stuff like that? Like, there's unfortunately there's that tick box exercise of what does a single look like,
I think it was like, in terms of the order we've done them in, like Violent Delights couldn't have been the first one because it's too weird. like, if that was the first one and it's just like, what are they doing? I think I always refer to Graveyard Shift as like the most immediate song, because it's literally like snare drum and then the song starts. So it's like, I think people know within like the first few seconds whether or not they like it. Whereas like Violent Delights, there's that, as I said, there's like kind of surf guitar bit, like a bit of bossa nova, even like the more overt Dillinger stuff. I can see why people might be put off by it. So I think that always had to be a kind of like, and now we have this. Sins of Success, I think we knew had to be a single as well.
Yeah, I think from like a lyrical hook, there's like a very simple like lie, cheat, steal, kill, this like 4-word phrasing which repeats itself throughout the song, and I was like, okay, this has a great opportunity to kind of almost be like a, what do you call it, like a little earworm type thing, something that people can actually ground themselves to. Going back to Graveyard Shifter, I think for me, before we'd even constructed the rest of the EP, I always knew that was going to be like number one. Just like, I remember the first time we played it as a collective, and it was just like, yeah, this is fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like, I just kind of, like whenever we played it, like in the early stages, like in the practice room, you could just feel the energy off of everyone. And like, it really, like, it was like something special. It's like, it's the song which I call like the knife of this record, it's just like straight in. Yeah.
That's a good analogy. I like that. Yeah, I've never heard that before. It's amazing. Because you released Violent Delights on Friday.
Yeah.
So obviously it's only been out for a few days. So like, has it gone down quite well? It's been well received.
It's apparently one of the top 12 best new metal songs that you need to hear, according to Metal Hammer. So
take it up with them.
There you are.
Alongside Machine Head, Poppy, Vukovi.
Yeah. Whoever those guys are.
Never heard of them. Heard of them.
I don't know if you feel the same, Jason, but I feel like this has had a better response than Sins of Success.
Possibly. I think maybe it's just that like sort of initial, like that initial, we're still in the first 3 days, we're in the honeymoon period, if you will, of a song release.
Yeah.
So it's still very much like everyone's like screaming and shouting about it.
Yeah. There are people that have like there's a few people that have reached out to us saying like, oh, this is your best song that you've done. And I always find that like some people that have been quiet for the previous 2 releases, I'm like, oh, so it's the weird stuff you like. That's quite
maybe around the back in 5.
yeah. That's quite satisfying in the fact that like, when like, in any form of art, when you feel like you're going out on a limb and it's just like, is everybody gonna like this? Is like, but even if you just have that one person, it's like, oh, okay, you know, I haven't gone too far off the rails. But yeah, so
Yeah. It's like you never know how a song's going to resonate with someone at the end of the day. Like we know what it means to us, and we know how it feels to play it, but we can't tell how it's going to be received when it actually kind of gets put in front of people, which is the most exciting thing about putting out the EP. You know, it's like it's a collection of songs with the new lineup that are probably some of the most like confusing but creative and exciting songs that we've ever written. So yeah.
I'm excited. Absolutely excited. But with the Spotify generation, as it were, because obviously you're releasing an EP next week. But does this mean you're going to work towards an album maybe, or are you going to stay within the single to EP ratio? Because people obviously go, that was amazing, what's next? Oh, that was amazing, what's next?
It's a tough one because I think I want to follow the traditional route.
Yeah.
I think because that's what I grew up with as well. Like, you know, as I said, like I didn't listen to singles because I would go to HMV to buy an album. And it's like this is a tangible thing, like a body of work. So yeah, I'd always like to go towards an album. I think it was like, if Jason would agree with me on this, it was kind of like because we had that new lineup, it was a bit bold to go, oh, we're back, and here is 30 to 40 minutes worth of music. It seems a bit like, you know, we're putting all our eggs in one basket. You know, I'd love to release an album, and I'm hoping that after this, if there is demand for it, then we can do that. Because I don't know, sometimes it seems a bit dangerous just to stay in the EP circuit for too long.
Yeah, like,
do you think?
Yeah, personally, like, I think it's like an album, an LP, if you will, can be like a very daunting concept as well. But I think for me personally, it feels like the next step for us as a lineup. I think. Just based off the reception that we've had off of these 3 tracks so far, seems to be really positive. And I think it'd be a really cool creative challenge for us as a unit, and a really good test as well, I think, to kind of just commit ourselves to like a full body work. The great thing as well is because we are like hardcore, metalcore, mathcore adjacent, whatever you want to call us, like we don't necessarily have to follow that box ticking exercise of what an LP looks like. Like Turnstile released a record and it's like 26 minutes long. Like it's actually, I think it's shorter than REP, right?
Might be, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think Time and Space was very short.
Yeah. And so I love the idea that like the label LP makes it sound like this big old intimidating thing, but actually if it's a collection of cohesive songs that belong together, you know, it is what it is, right? Yeah. I think a lot of these sort of like labels like EP, LP, like mini album, like yeah, that's probably just for the industry people. But yeah.
I always wonder, is there like a cut-off amount of songs you have? Is like, oh, you've reached that point, it's now an album.
Yeah.
It's weird because, like, going back to my prog roots, I remember the Mars Volta released an album which was 5 tracks long, but the last track was half an hour, and the record label were like, but it's only 5 tracks, that's an EP. And it's like the whole thing is like an hour and 15 in total. But then you have like the flip side where Nails will release an album that is 15 minutes long, and it's like, you know, where's the goalposts here?
Yeah, like I'm not sure. Like you say, it is a bit of a box ticking exercise. I think it is like a label that will probably decide.
Yeah.
Mind you, that makes sense actually. A lot of them will invest in an artist, won't they? And say like, okay, you can produce an album for us. We're going to fund it. And I guess their idea of it might actually shape how long it has to be.
Yeah.
Maybe? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
So last week on the show, we spoke to your friends in Call Me Amore,
nice.
who have just released a song with Mikey Chapman from Marinox.
Good
And
day.
now on your upcoming EP, you have a song with him as well. So how did that come about?
We're all just like interconnected, really, aren't we?
Mikey's just whoring himself out.
Yeah, you know, it's
Mikey. He just loves our work so much. He just had to get in touch.
Yeah, he was like, "You guys, I want to
let me Chaos Reigns."
So me and Mikey actually, we grew up together. We used to go to school together. We've known each other since we were like little kids. Our parents lived like a few doors down from each other. And so yeah, we've like one that garage band that I mentioned earlier in the call, that he was the singer of said garage band. Well, one of the singers of said garage band. Yeah. And so yeah, we've always maintained a really good friendship throughout the years. I always joke that he's my hetero life partner, to be honest with you. But yeah, so when it came to, he's always been like super supportive of and super like good at guiding me, especially like becoming a front man for the first time and like helping me out with some of the vocal stuff as well. But yeah, he's kind of like really helped me develop our sound and stuff. And then as we got into the writing process, when it came to the Lotus King and the lyrics, and as I mentioned before, what the song's about and stuff, it's a subject that's close to both of us. And when I was like applying the lyrics to the song, I knew that there was like a really good gap for a guest vocalist into this, and it just felt so right. Like it had to be Mikey, it couldn't be anyone else. I told him what the song was about, and he instantly said yes. And so yeah, that was pretty much that. Oz Craggs as well, the guy who's our producer, is really good friends with Mikey as well. So it was really nice to kind of get everyone in the studio together as well. And he pretty much smashed it in like one take, and then it was so epic. I was like, damn.
I'd never really, I mean, it's one thing listening to someone on record, but then seeing it, and it's just like, oh shit, you can like just feel the power of like his voice and everything.
Yeah, boy's got pipes, serious pipes. But yeah, so going back to Call Me Amore, I know Harry Radford as well. We sort of all met at 2000 Trees like a couple of years back, and so yeah, a bunch of us have all been good friends since. And obviously we supported Call Me Amore at their Underworld show back in September. I've had a few nights out with the guys. They're great fun, good bunch.
We love 2000 Trees on this show, so any plug for 2000 Trees goes down.
Oh mate, yeah, it's my favorite festival, 100%. Like I've got so much time for that festival. Like the dream for me is like, I know obviously a lot of people would like set their sights on like Download Festival or like, I don't know, Hellfest. But I'm like, yo, if we can just get 2000 Trees, that'd be sweet.
James, Chaos Reigns, mate. Sort out.
Yeah.
But obviously Graveyard Shift's been played on Radio 1 and Kerrang Radio as well. Like you're getting all the, and then you mentioned Metal Hammer picking up, Violent Delight's been one of the big 12 tracks to listen to this week. So I mean, all credit to you, you deserve it.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? So like literally listened to that today, and I was just like, fuck me, these guys are good.
Oh,
so
thank you, Tom.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. Like so, but what I know, obviously, it's a different dynamic, it's a different iteration of Chaos Reigns. But what sets this EP apart from the earlier stuff?
I think it just, I don't know. Like if you look at a Horrific Accident, as much as I really enjoy those songs, and we still play a lot of them live, these ones just seem to be, not just because of the length of the songs, they're just so much more immediate. It's just like there's so much going on in a short space of time, that I feel like there's more ambition in them, like without sounding arrogant. Like I just feel like we try to achieve more. I don't know. I don't know if I can pinpoint an exact thing. It just feels like a perfect scenario. Like everything has like lined up, and I don't mean any disrespect to the previous work and all the people that are involved in it, because it's still a great body of work. But I'm going to say that cliche, like, oh, this is the best thing we've ever done. But that's how I feel. It's like I feel like there's a step up in not just like my songwriting, but the band's performance and Jason's vocals and the production as well. Like everything, I think, has just aligned with that.
We definitely didn't cut any corners with this record.
Yeah.
Like everything has been thought of from start to finish. Even down to like the color story of the artwork and the singles, like how that the artwork was produced itself is actually done using like a retro 1980s film camera. and like using one of my friends. And so like, yeah, like every detail of this EP has been really kind of well thought through. For me, in terms of like the music itself, Billy, I think you mentioned, I think it was one of the guys from Dillinger who they write a song and then they basically like how can we make it harder?
Yeah, I think it was like Ben Wyman said. I don't know the exact quote, but he was like, we'd learn a song, we'd practice it, we'd nail it, and then go, right, now let's make it harder. And they would just kind of like loop that and push it, just as far as they could go.
And I feel like we've been a lot more clinical when it came to the writing of these songs, in that respect, certainly. And I also think it's been like, I feel like as a group of musicians, it's much more collaborative as well. Like I can't speak for previous lineups, but I know that like we're all kind of helping each other with our parts, and offering as much like feedback and improvement as possible. And so like I can't really say more than that. It just feels really locked in. And so I think that is probably why it's gonna sound so different to previous Chaos Reigns records.
I absolutely love James Dean as well.
Ah, thank you. Yeah,
absolutely love that track.
Nice. Yeah, like it's cool because that one felt like the perfect sort of transition point from old Chaos Reigns into new Chaos Reigns. We were like, we need to put something out that kind of gives a flavor of what we're going to sound like moving forward. And it was the one track which I think we all agreed was like, it doesn't quite sit right with everything else, but it still needs a place in the world.
It's straddling that line between, like, it's got a really like crazy, let's call it like middle eight section, but then it also has like the most conventional chorus of any of our songs.
Oh yeah.
To the point where it's like, there's people have sung it along and they know it, and it's like, that's really weird for like a hardcore song that the chorus is singing along to.
Yeah, honestly.
But
I feel like that song was like Salt Bay.
Yeah,
just a bit of a sprinkling of what's new.
That's it. It was just that little bit of seasoning, that little spice of things to come. Yeah. Nah, it's a good track. It is a good track.
I can see Jason next time they play it live and just and now we're playing James Dean.
James Dean.
So looking at the future, you guys have some shows coming up, including a release show in London for December 6th. How excited are you to get out there and properly celebrate the release of this EP?
Yeah, it's mad, like very excited for it. But also like spoken to other bands about when you like release an album or whatever body of work, like once you've done it, it's just like, oh, you've done it now, that's it. And now you're in like this kind of, I don't know, like all the anticipation has gone and it's like, oh, it's out. So yeah, it's exciting, but also there is some nerves as well about it. But that show hopefully will be very, very fun.
Yeah, I think it's what I'm looking forward to is playing the tracks sequentially.
Yeah,
like,
we haven't done that before, which is
we've never actually just done a record run through, so we're going to do it all like from start to finish. And so yeah, it's going to be really fun to actually just kind of see how they all like stitch in together in a live concept. We're at the More Beer Vaults as well, which is like quite a new DIY venue as well. We played there earlier in the year. They were really good to us as well, so we're kind of really excited to go back into the space. Like it's a very stripped back setting. It's very much just like stage room, and it's like a great shape as well. So it's like what's happening in front of you is what you watch. Like it's not like one of those weird venues where they have like a nook and like it's going to be a good space, and it's going to be really good to occupy that room. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it, honestly. Like it's been a long like time coming. We recorded back in February.
So I can't remember when we booked it, but the ball started rolling in 2023, didn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's weird when you creating a piece of art and you actually get to see it kind of come to life, to manifest itself. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good.
But you've got that warm-up show 2 days earlier in Brighton supporting Polar.
Hell yeah. And hell can wait. Yeah.
Yeah. That's gonna be sick. That'll be so good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like the timing's perfect. Like
Yeah.
to have that like 2 days before our London show is like it's going to be a really good opportunity for us to just kind of like get into the right headspace to then do it all like again on Friday. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. Polar are smashing it as well. That new record is going to be proper spicy. Yeah.
The last time we played Brighton, well, we've only played it once before, but like that was a really great crowd. Like,
Yeah.
hoping the people there come back because they were going for it.
Oh yeah, it was wild. Yeah, really wild show actually.
Yeah.
Are you gonna not to try and give anything away, but as this set list wise, are you planning on something similar, or are you changing it up a little bit due to the release show and the support show?
Well, I suppose because with a headline one, it's our show. We can do what we want. We're going to be playing longer. So yeah, when it's support, it's always a bit more interesting because if you're a support band, you're essentially, oh, this is our chance to advertise because realistically, people are going to that show to see Polar, but they don't know who we are. So that's the kind of opportunity to go, oh, this is what we're about. Whereas at the headline show, hopefully they've listened to us.
Yeah.
Or, they might turn up and then go, not for me, and then walk off. But
yeah, that Chaos Rain? I like Trivium. I'll check this out.
Yeah, I love the works of Lars von Trier. Yeah, so hopefully that kind of gives us a bit more leeway if it's our show. Like,
yeah, I think when for me anyway, when approaching a support slot versus like a headline slot, like a support slot just kind of needs to be like a charcuterie board of you've got me on like food things now. A charcuterie board of our music. So a little bit of old, a little bit of new, preferably stuff that people can go away and listen to after the show as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it will be a good opportunity for us to perhaps demonstrate some of those newer tracks which haven't been like released onto the world yet. But yeah.
Oh,
there's only one way to find out, and that's to go, basically.
Exactly. That's
yeah.
I just love the fact that we've spoken to like hundreds and hundreds of artists on this show. No one has ever described their set list as a charcuterie board, and that's just top tier for me now. No one's ever going to beat that.
Yeah. There you go. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
So, looking past the EP release, though, what's the future looking like for the band? Anything exciting planned for 2025 that you can talk about, or is it all planning stages at the moment?
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing definitive.
We've got we've got a couple of obviously shows which have been announced.
Yes,
like we're supporting our good friend State of You at the end of January at the Black Heart. I absolutely love those guys. In fact, I met my girlfriend at one of their shows. Yeah, we're all like big friends as well. Like been friends for a long time now. So it will be really cool for me anyway. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but it'll be really cool to play that show and just kind of get everyone together. They're another one of Oz Craggs' bands as well. And like, yeah, I've just got a lot of admiration for their sound and what they do as a band. In fact, a lot of their members like are sort of ex-Polar and Hilda May and a couple of other bands. So yeah, so that will be a really good one. Then we've got Signature Brew, and then like yeah, and then the plan is basically, I don't know, hit the road with it really.
Yeah.
I feel like while we can, while it's still very much active, it'd be really good to take Sweet Violence around the UK and like like dream scenarios for us as well. We toured with a band called Foxwomb from Sweden. And so they've come over twice now, and they very much feel like it's their turn to host. So Sweden could potentially be on the cards for us as well, which would be a really good one. So yeah, like there's a lot of like, obviously none of this is concrete yet, but this is very much setting out our intention for the year, shall we say?
Yeah.
And 2000 trees, obviously.
Yeah. I think also just timeline wise, like starting the writing process as well, because considering like we were booking recording last year, if you look how long that takes to go from recording to releasing, you've then got to add on the writing and rehearsing before that. Like it's mad when you on a tangent when you look at bands from like the 60s and 70s and like how quickly they were putting stuff out. It's like, were you writing that as soon as the album was released, like album number 2? But yeah, I can understand why bands like Tool take 5 years, but I feel like we can't afford that.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, for me the first and foremost is like let's get some more shows in the diary
Yeah.
and play Sweet Violence to more crowds.
Yes.
And then sort of like probably in the second half of the year is when we start thinking about hunkering down for creative seasonings. Yeah.
Creative seasonings. I like
Yeah.
that. So before we start wrapping things up, there's a question I always like to ask in case people are listening to this and they're like, can't say I've ever listened to this band before, but I like the cut of their jib and I'm going to go check them out. What's maybe one or two songs that you would recommend that people listen to get like a flavour for what the band's about?
Graveyard Shift, definitely.
Yeah, I think Graveyard Shift's definitely got to be there. Like
I feel like
that's
that was a song which, for a lot of people, was their first Chaos Reign song. Which is understandable, and it is
Yeah.
like, as I said, it's very immediate, and I don't know. I feel like I've noticed, maybe just because it's been out longer than Sins of Success, that one gets a good response from the crowd. So yeah, definitely Graveyard Shift. I don't know if we're at a second one. Jason, what would you say?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on Graveyard Shift. I'm trying to think of like what if it's hard trying to pick two definitive Chaos Reign songs because
Yeah.
as you guys know, we like to just mash up genres.
Yeah.
So it's like it's quite fun whenever we do one of those posts on TikTok and whatnot and try and get people to kind of guess the genre of it because some people are like, oh, it's mathcore, oh, it's metalcore,
Yeah.
oh, it's experimental jazz. Like
Yeah.
so you could pick two Chaos Reign songs, but they'd be vastly different, you know. That said, I absolutely love Fight or Flight from a horrific accident, like the EP before this one. Like it's such a fun song, and it's got like a really like bitey beat down towards the end of it, and like I think if you're perhaps someone who's into more of like the slam core side of hardcore that's like quite prominent at the moment with Knocked Loose and Kubla Khan, I think like that would probably maybe provide like a good gateway for someone who's into that kind of side of hardcore.
It does seem to
Yeah.
be one that is still, even though like it's not a new song. Like when we look at like all the stats and whatnot, it's like, oh, people are listening to this one a lot, which is it's always interesting. Like that you have this weird perception of like, as an artist, you're like, oh well, this is our new one, so people will like our new one, and it's like, oh no, they like that one we haven't been promoting to this.
But like you see it happen, don't you? Like was it Can You Feel My Heart by Bring Me the Horizon? Like
Yeah.
that blew up on TikTok, didn't
Well,
it?
yeah,
And
it
like
became a meme, didn't
it
it?
had-
So it's like,
yeah. And so you never like the strange thing about art is that like there's no definitive timeline on when
Yeah.
it's gonna be popular. Like, yeah.
In all types of art, you find like people going like, have you seen this film? Oh yeah, it came out 20 years ago. Yeah, but have you seen it? Because
Yeah.
it's really cool. Like people just discover things like
Yeah.
randomly out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You just never know.
But wasn't it Bohemian Rhapsody when they first released that? Wasn't that like car crash? And then it took a while and then it just blew up.
Oh, I thought it was. Well, I don't know. I thought the label really loved it because that's one of the many lies from that film where they were like, "Oh, this song will never work," and it's like, no, if you check the records, everyone was supporting them. So
Yeah.
but,
Okay, I might be wrong on that one, but yeah, there's definitely a few examples of things which, bombed on initial release and then all of a sudden
basically,
like
any song that Tarantino made popular didn't used to be popular.
yeah, that's fair. We call that the law of Tarantino.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, we're in Kill Bill 3.
I think it'd be a great soundtrack addition to that. We would actually, yeah.
Mr. Stevens, do you have any more questions for our wonderful guests?
I do. I have one more for you all. When you first started this journey, Billy, thinking this is going to be a university project, just get something in there and just for the sake of it, did you ever think this is where you would be today?
On the Chronicles of Podcast.
Oh no, not on the show. I mean in general, being played on Radio 1, being played in Kerrang, being in Metal Hammer.
Honestly, like we haven't made it, whatever you call it. Like we're not rubbing shoulders with Metallica, but just having people respond. I think for me, and it's quite a small thing, but we've just been playing shows and people have said, "Oh, we've come to this show to see you," and it's just like, "Oh wow," because I'm so used to just playing a show and like converting some people, but ultimately playing a show to a room full of people who don't know us. So to have just those, even like I think we did Manchester, and there was like one person that said to you, Jason, "Oh, like I saw you guys on TikTok a year ago, and I wanted to come and see you." And it's just like, oh, so like we are reaching some people that it's working, and it's those little things which are like the victory for me. And I never expected it. I wanted to make something with the band. I didn't want to just play to empty rooms, but at the same time I know hardcore punk isn't going to be selling out the O2. But yeah, just to have that like minor
didn't Turnstile sold out the O2?
Oh yeah, and is it not looser at Brixton Academy? So
they sold that out. So give it time, my friend.
But yeah, no, I didn't think, particularly the Kerrang and Metal Hammer stuff. It's just like, wow, I was getting those magazines weekly and monthly, so that's crazy to have that.
Yeah, I think like just to add to that, I'm just kind of grateful for any and every opportunity that we get, like the Metal Hammer thing is just like, it seems like every other day there seems to be like a new incredible thing that happens to us, and I'm just like, I kind of have to pinch myself and just be grateful for every moment as it comes. Like Alex Baker really took a shining to us,
that's
comparing us to his favorite band, the Bleds, and I'm like, I fucking love the Bleds. So like that for me, as I was sat there in my Bled t-shirt, was like, I was like, wow, this is, we certainly don't do it for like the respect and admiration of the industry, but like it's nice that we are sort of getting attention from people like yourselves as well, like these great opportunities, these great platforms. It's cool. It just it does make it all feel a little bit more real.
Definitely.
And it's all deserved, because it wouldn't be happening if the music wasn't as good as it is. So
thank you.
It's all put down to you guys. But gents, thank you so much for taking time out to chat with us today. It means the absolute world. We've had so much fun talking to you.
Oh, it's been a blast.
No worries. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Can we come back for whatever reason?
Of course.
Just why not?
Come on, everyone.
Don't need to promote anything. Just come on for fun.
Come for funsies.
Shits and gigs.
Just saw Dinosaurs for an hour and a half.
Honestly, for your next interview, you should ask them if you could be any dinosaur. Which dinosaur would you be?
Sorted.
Add it into your next question round. Yeah,
absolutely. That's just gonna put that in for every guest now.
Yeah.
Before we let you guys get out of here, though, any plugs, social medias, websites? Where can people go find you in the world?
So we are on all socials, all platforms. Chaos Reigns UK on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're obviously on Spotify and all the different streaming platforms. I think we're Chaos Reigns HC on YouTube. Need to have a word with whoever's got Chaos Reigns UK, because we need it. What else to plug? No, I think that's pretty much it. We have our own web. We've got merch. We've got a website, chaos-reigns.co.uk. I think that's all of the plugging. I think I've mentioned everything. And come to our show on December 6th.
Yes.
Yeah. It's going to be wicked.
And everyone check out the EP on the 29th.
Correct.
Not the 30th, the 29th.
Sweet man, it's 29th.
If you do listen on the 30th, it still will be there. It's one day only. We're not
you'll be a day late. Yeah.
Incredible.
Pleasure to meet you both. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing
Jamie.
Thank you very much, my friends.
Have a good evening,
much, guys.
Take it
Take
easy.
care.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.